And now, moving on to the developers that we're going to be talking to. The first developer that I'm going to introduce today is the BOM SUCESSO Design Resort, or Design Leisure and Golf Resort. And today we're lucky enough to have with us Mr. Antonio Silva Pereira, who is here to represent BOM SUCESSO and tell us a little bit about the resort. So, firstly, we'd just like to talk a little bit about BOM SUCESSO. Now, BOM SUCESSO is a resort in the Silver Coast, 45-50 minutes north of Lisbon, and there are some unique and very special points about the BOM SUCESSO resort, which Antonio will be telling us in a few minutes. But firstly, Antonio, perhaps you'd like to explain the concept of the BOM SUCESSO resort, because I know you have a very famous golf course there, don't you?
Yes, we do. Well, the concept of BOM SUCESSO is, or the main issue that makes it different from, I would dare to say anything else, is the architecture. So it's the concept is contemporary architecture. So all the projects have a common link, but we have an enormous diversity at the same time. So in 601 houses, we have more than 60 different projects produced by 23 architects. Among those 23 architects, we have the very best Portuguese ones, among which I would name César Vieira, because he's a Pritzker Prize and is known worldwide. We have a very good British one, David Chipperfield, and we also have a Spanish architect, and in the future we'll have architects from other countries. So this also makes it quite international from the beginning of the concept. And our intention, and I think that we have achieved it, was to put together the modernity of the concept of architecture together with the nature and the respect for the nature, and trying not to damage it, well, I can't say at all, because it's impossible to build houses without changing something in the nature, but at least try to do it as softly as possible. And the fact is that all the houses in BOM SUCESSO have vegetable covers. That's also one of the key ideas. So it means that, well, first of all, we only have about 7% of construction, and by doing all the roofs with vegetation, we kind of compensate what we occupy of the soil. We compensate it by the roofs, which are also vegetable. So in the end, the area that really disappears in terms of vegetation is roughly the streets. Okay.
Thank you, Antonio. Yes, I agree. Having been to BOM SUCESSO myself, I know that it's a unique resort with 23 architects involved in it, among which are the two most famous ones you've just described, César Vieira and David Chipperfield from the UK. But I also know that it's very famous for its contemporary architecture, but English viewers in particular will be delighted to hear that there is already an 18-hole golf course there designed by Donald Steele.
Well, that's right. All the houses, all the constructions are done around the golf course. So it's a championship golf course, 18-hole, par 72. It's been open since last September, and the comments that we have heard so far are quite positive. I think it kind of manages to be challenging for good players. I've heard people with handicaps of 2, 3 saying that it's quite challenging, but at the same time it's also quite friendly for people that are not as good players.
Well, that's good news. I should add that the Silver Coast is an up-and-coming region 50 minutes north of the Lisbon International Airport, and it's a region that is characterized by beautiful countryside. A beautiful Óbidos Lagoon is one natural aspect of the area, which I know BOM SUCESSO is very close to the lagoon. And I know that we now have the video from BOM SUCESSO, which we would like to show now, to give viewers a flavour of the region and the resort itself.
On the threshold of imagination, on the landscape we cross knowledge, genius and human creativity. A new concept of tourism resort was created. We have integrated contemporary architecture into the stunning natural landscape of Óbidos Lagoon. We have involved architecture with nature. We have created BOM SUCESSO, design resort, leisure, golf and spa. This unique project has the best possible location. Less than 1 hour away from Lisbon International Airport, a short distance from the main European capitals, and thanks to a new set of accessibilities such as highways A8, A15 and IP6, BOM SUCESSO is easily accessible from anywhere in Portugal. The same can be said about the city of Lisbon, rising from the Tagus, combining tradition with modernity. Sintra's mysticism and other places amongst the country's calling cards, such as the casino at Estoril, port wine and the west coast, a mere 70 kilometers from the capital, enclosing within its walls a secular town, Óbidos. Just 15 minutes from BOM SUCESSO stands a journey into time, where the indelible past accommodates the present, enriching its history. A reference of charm and historic interest, and a serious candidate to become a World Heritage Site. This medieval town of history and legend also stands out for its gastronomy and intense cultural activity. Dozens of events throughout the year enliven its cultural program. The medieval market, the opera festival, dozens of dance and theatre shows, and the now famous chocolate festival. Óbidos also lends its name to the largest lagoon in the country, nestled amongst the relief of the marshy lands, the long sandy stretches of the Atlantic Silver Coast, and the landscape punctuated by gentle rolling hills. Already considered an ex-libris of contemporary architecture, BOM SUCESSO is a symbiosis between nature and the creative art from the most accredited names in architecture, in perfect harmony with nature. BOM SUCESSO is a combination of villas and townhouses. Each house, each original and unique project was designed for a specific location, adding value to the surrounding area and maximizing solar exposure and the natural condition of the grounds, facing the golf course, the lagoon or the sea. Therefore, 90% of the houses have only one floor, thus avoiding any interference with the landscape or the adjacent lots, which have vegetal fences for separation as well as canopies. A total privacy prevails, quite surprising in a resort of such dimension. BOM SUCESSO is quality and innovation, but it is also an investment. If you want just a holiday home, you can place your house for tourist rentals for the rest of the year. BOM SUCESSO assures you a professional service and a return on your investment. Endless advantages for you and your family. An investment, a solid investment.